This is about the real value of reality capture in asset management. First thing I'm starting with is some images, and these are unbelievable construction mistakes. So would anyone actually use such an ATM machine? Probably only if it's the only one in the city. Would anyone buy an apartment with such a balcony on that side? I assume the answer is no. So this is showing the actual value of capturing that data in order to understand what's going on in your asset. And that's where the value of reality capture comes. Now, this is a study by what's called Green Key FM. It's the 6 most common problems that arise by poor facility management. The problem number 1 is unplanned periodic maintenance. Problem number 2, unbudgeted expenses. Problem number 3, threat to life and property. And then bad customer reviews. And what you probably can't read right now is the lack of real-time data of facility management operations. So the focus mainly is the lack of real-time data, and that's where we come. We can capture that data so that you can understand what's going on in your property, and that feeds back into problem number 1 and 2, so eventually it will solve them, which also solves the threat to life and property, and if you solve all of that, you will have a good customer review. I know that a lot of people here would probably use one of these, so I would ask the question, does anyone here use traditional methods in terms of surveying? I would assume some people still use that, but I'm sure that a lot of people are using also the new methods of reality capture, whether that's laser scanning and drones. And this is just to show you that the real value and the real difference. So with reality capture, with the new method, the technology, you can actually have accurate and reliable data on the spot, whereas in traditional methods, you're going to have to do a lot of manual work, and it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of labor. So you're cutting on labor as well, so it's labor efficient. And also in reality capture, you can do progress monitoring, and that's going to allow you to always have monitoring on your asset. You can access places that are usually impossible to access traditionally or would put a risk on a human life, such as Zaha Hadid projects, for example, the Opus one that's in Dubai, and you see all these curves. That's kind of impossible to capture using traditional methods. And so you can have data that's immediately accessible, and you can share it with whoever you want from the stakeholders. You can already see that we're definitely moving from traditional methods. Now we're going to look at the users who can make benefit of that reality capture data to have a better asset management. Now, I'm sure in this room, there's going to be stakeholders that are going to be covered in the spectrum. So the asset is the main thing that facility managers is going to manage, but everyone in this cycle here is going to work on that asset, whether that's designers, the owners, the contractors, and the end user. So we tend to forget the end user, and the end user is people who are living in the buildings or working in the buildings most of their life, actually. So all of these users can use reality capture to better have an asset management. And the reason I'm showing this reality capture in all the project lifecycle, because if you actually use it from the beginning, from the early stages, such as the design phase, it's going to feed in later on into the operations and maintenance. So this is early asset management, and that's why this is going to lead into the future of asset management. This was made because a lot of people have the misconception that reality capture, laser scanning, or even drone services is expensive. But in fact, I'm going to show you why it's very affordable. We have a matrix here from simple to complex, and the simple one is going to be 3 to 5 dirhams per square meter, whereas the complex is going to be 10 to 15 dirhams per square meter. And the range in between depends on the consequences on what's needed and what's required. But we took this as a rough estimate based on 4 projects, and they range from laser scanning and processing only up to laser scanning, modeling, multiple disciplines of a somewhat complex project. If you take the 10 to 15 dirhams per square meters, that's really nothing compared to what you're paying if something goes wrong and if you need to manage your asset inefficiently. And that's why the process of reality capture is the prevention and understanding how you can start your digital twin journey. So for us, we start with the planning, we capture the data, we process the data, and then we create whatever is necessary information, whether that's a model, that's drawing, that's analysis, and after that, you can start your digital twin journey based on accurate, reliable data. Here I'm showing an image kind of representing what digital twins stand for, and the aim is facilities management and operations. But you can see a building in the middle here, and around it is all the different assets that are running this building. So if you don't have the accurate data, the accurate geometry of that building, you're going to be also having inaccurate information pointing to that building as well. So that's why capturing that data from the beginning is key to having a proper asset management. I'm going to show a few examples. One of them here is an example by a company called Navis. So they provide laser scanning solution. And it's interesting because this is done for planning and operations for a Siemens factory. And what they did here is they captured the data, and then that data was put on the cloud, and you can access it on your phone or on your laptop. And you can coordinate that data, and you can have comments, you can have maintenance schedules over there, you can have manufacturing operations virtually anywhere, and that's because of the data that you've captured. Another example here that we've done in Abu Dhabi, and that's for progress monitoring. So with progress monitoring, you're going to be able to track the progress of your asset, and you're going to always be able to see what's going on in your asset with a 360 image. Now, the image on the left is taken probably a month before the image on the right, but they're both taken at the exact same location. So you can see the progress, and you can understand what's going on in the asset. This example is about heritage preservation. So we've captured this data, and we've provided the client with a record of this model, with a record of this information, so that he can manage his asset and understand what was going on in that specific date that we scanned it. Now, another example that was supposed to be in the previous slide was the Heriot-Watt University. But it was really important because the Heriot-Watt University, we had the pleasure to work on it. We scanned it, and we had the model which included MEP, which included architecture, and even included the FF&E. So Heriot-Watt wanted to use this data and start off to manage their asset properly and have the correct data and information put into that model. Do you think that you still need more to understand the value of reality capture? And if that's the case, I'm going to show you the major benefits that you probably could understand from all the previous slides, but just put into context. So reality capture is going to give you accurate measurements. It's going to give you accurate data. It's going to allow you to do better coordination, better decision making. It's going to be very safe, as we've said, and it's going to be saving you a lot of time, between 50 and 75%, and it's going to be giving you a total project cost saving up to 7%. And even though the 7% might sound that it's not much, but think about the huge numbers on big projects and the amount of saving that would be. And most importantly, it would give you a good return on investment because all of that. As one of my colleagues says, as designed is rarely as built, and as built is never as maintained. And that is because of bad data. And that's what we're trying to avoid and we're trying to give.